Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you guys have seen the title, you probably already know why we're here. So this is just something that we've wanted to talk about for a long time. We were waiting on the timing just to make sure that we could properly talk to you guys about it, give you like wisdom and advice how to deal with it
while we were in a good place, because we didn't feel right talking about it when we were still struggling a lot with it. Not that we are anymore. I say it. Anorexia. That is the word of the night. And depression. All of them. Woohoo!
A lot of this we're just gonna kind of wing it and talk about really just what we've wanted to talk about for a while. We're gonna give you guys a quick disclaimer. We're not doing this for the views. This actually all happened. We're being really raw with you guys, very real. So if things like on the topic of eating disorders or anxiety or depression trigger you, or weight or body image triggers you, make sure to skip to this time slot. We're gonna put it on the screen right here.
Yeah, because we still want everyone to hear that message, and we promise there's no triggering words. And even if you haven't been dealing with anything lately, please still skip to that. If you don't want to hear the whole video, skip to that time and just listen to that short little message. Please, if you are struggling right now and you can't watch this video, please go to the description. We'll have a bunch of links to places that you can get help and talk to people and do research and just be able to have someone to talk to. If you can't watch this video, we understand. And please don't put yourself in any more harm. Yeah. We have semi-dark humor, so if we make any jokes and if we're laughing, it's because that's how we cope with things.
Well, and you also have to realize, we're telling you guys this now, so you're just figuring this out now if you haven't noticed it from like social media posts and stuff. But we've been dealing this for a couple years, and we've been like working through it for like half of a year now. So this is kind of old news to us, so it's not like as huge of a deal as, I mean, it's still a huge deal, but it's not like
it's not like life-threatening.
It's not like that big of a thing anymore to us, because we're already like, we've been dealing with it, so we already know about it. Yeah. So that's why we can joke about it and stuff now. Yeah, guys, we're just gonna tell you what we've been dealing with the past couple of years. Yeah. We live in a very blessed time, so I don't think it's that weird to be talking to you guys about this stuff. Mental illnesses, they're being brought to the spotlight a lot, so it's just something that's becoming more and more open. That's why we're talking about with you guys, because we want you guys to feel open enough to talk to us about that.
And it's very human to deal with this stuff, because
so it shouldn't be weird to talk about it or make you feel uncomfortable, because if you're struggling, and that's just how humans are, and you have to come and talk about it to people or you won't get better.
Like, we kind of recommend that if you are struggling, to go to someone that can't relate to you, if that makes sense, because it's just, from our experience, it can help, but it feeds into it. Yeah.
Find someone who's a strong person who can be your anchor. We all grew up going to normal school, just being surrounded by a bunch of people, and just the different people that have come in and out of my life. It was kind of a toxic environment, which is like kind of all high schools are. So yeah, I just grew up pretty insecure about myself. I had a little bit of an inferiority complex to CJ, because she was in a couple grades ahead of me, and so everybody knew who she was, and I was kind of in her shadow the whole time. So that kind of fed into it. I feel like I didn't really have a lot of close friends, and the people that I was friends with, I feel like I never truly opened up to them. So a lot of this is my fault. Then we started the band, and we started making music, and we went to Nashville for the first time. It was something that I finally had a purpose in my life, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is really what I want to do. When we started recording our first album, it took a really big toll on me when we had to leave, and we were just like, I was crying the whole way home on the plane ride and stuff. And I was just like really down for the next couple of days, like even going back to school. And then we started doing the band full time, and we pulled out of school, and I was like, oh, this is great. I don't like going to school. I'm not a very social person sometimes. And so it's really cool to just be able to do this on my own. It was great for a while, but I started getting super, super insecure about myself, and just anytime we were playing shows, I had to make sure that I was always looking at myself to make sure I was okay. Constantly comparing myself to other people. Like, even about stupid things. I wish I was left-handed, because that would make me special. And I just didn't feel like I was special enough to, like, be anybody. Anything that I liked about someone, I wish that I could have for myself, and to make me feel special. If it makes them special, I need it so I can feel special, because I'm not special on my own. I feel like that's a lot of where it stemmed from. because I just didn't feel good as myself. It was like towards the end of summer 2017. I had started seeing myself differently. I had started eating less, and I was like, oh, I have too much weight on myself. I have to lose this weight. And so it's sort of in the category of body dysmorphia, where when I looked in the mirror, I didn't see the body that I had. I felt like I was way bigger than I actually was. And I started eating less and less, or I would just stop eating certain foods. And so I was like, oh, if I see bread, I can't eat bread. And, oh, if I see fast food, I can't eat it at all. If I would eat it, I would feel even worse. And so that just put me, like, super in, like, a bad mood all the time. I wasn't giving myself the proper nutrients, so that was making my mental state even worse. It just kept getting worse and worse. And there'd be good spots to where, like, oh, if I was having a good day, I'll eat a bunch of, like, good stuff, or I'll eat a bunch of candy or whatever. And then the next day I would feel absolutely terrible and, like, wouldn't want to eat anything.
And that's about it.
That's about it. I never got better. So there was good spots. We were playing a bunch of shows, going on tour, meeting a bunch of people. So there was obviously a bunch of highs in my life, and then those would be gone, and then I would hit a bunch of really bad lows. I was just not happy at all, and still constantly comparing myself to other people, and wishing my life away, basically. I was getting super caught up in school, and just trying to get as much school done as possible, and super stressed out, and I tend to overwork myself a bunch. And when I overwork myself, I get into these weird, like, mental states where I don't want to talk to anybody or get super exhausted. And when I'm super exhausted, it makes my like mental state even worse. And so I was constantly exhausted. I was not eating enough food, not getting enough nutrients, and I just had the terrible brain fog. Couldn't, like, interact with people. To, like, 2018, it's still happening. I go vegan because I already had issues with dairy, and I could tell because we were eating a bunch of ice cream and I would get super sick. I feel like a little bit before that I found out I had eczema, but, like, my skin condition was getting super terrible. I was like, well, I can't eat gluten. And, like, all of this stuff that different people had wrong with them, I was like, well, that's probably wrong with me too. Anything that was, like, wrong with someone else, I would be like, oh, that's wrong with me. I have that sickness. I have that disease. Play the victim almost, like, oh, victimize me so you'll, like, give me the attention that I want. So I, like, wouldn't eat bread because I thought I had to be gluten-free for my eczema, which you don't have to be. But I don't have extreme cases of eczema. It only flares up a couple times. I have kind of bad skin, but, like, it's not terrible.
But lactose.
We are lactose, yeah. We did find that out. Our mom had a bunch of health stuff going on, so her doctor suggested going vegan. That way she wouldn't have to take as much medication. I was like, oh, well, I'll go vegan with you too. Like, I'll help support you. At first, it was, like, solely for the purpose of supporting mom. And I was like, oh, this is fun. We'll do this together. And then towards, like, the end of 2017 and towards the beginning of 2018, I started using it as an excuse to eat less and less. I was like, oh, well, I can't eat this food because I'm vegan, so I can't eat that.
If you're vegan, we're not saying that's bad.
And, like, now, like, I'm at a good place, and I love, like, making vegan dishes and experimenting.
It's just making sure you have the right nutrients, and that's not what she was getting.
We went on another tour, and things got kind of okay then. I got to see a bunch of, like, people that we really loved hanging out with, and then once that tour was over, it was really bad again. Missing people that we hung out with. Just a lot of school stress going on. I had developed so much anxiety and depression from, I don't want to classify it as depression because a lot of it was because of the not eating thing. So I was just super insecure and I've always had, like, a weird mental mind state. And it's not like it's an unstable mind state, but it's just kind of weird sometimes. And so not having food on top of that can really, like,
whack it out,
yeah. I don't know. It's pretty close to everything. But
I mean, it's not going to be exact.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be. Some stuff can be personal.
That's true. I feel like it was almost near my birthday because we talked one time and then there was a whole space of time and we thought we were going to hang out with them and then we didn't, so we talked again.
I came in to say, I'm sorry for yelling at you. And then I kind of just sat down and then
like I kind of started crying a little bit.
By literally the grace of God. Like, this was literally God working. He had us start talking.
Yeah. There's days I couldn't, like, get out of bed until, like, my mom basically had to, like, come drag me out of bed because I didn't have the motivation to get up. I was like, there's no point to getting up. There's no point to just do anything because I feel like I'm doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. So that's when, like, we started talking. Luke came in one night and she was like, sorry for yelling at you. And, like, I started crying a little bit. And I was like, I started crying a little bit. But we talked about a lot of stuff. I had kind of told Lou that I was not eating as much and, like, hinted at it, but I don't think I really told you.
The first time we didn't talk about it, and then the second time we really talked about it.
You can tell you guys, because I don't know.
What I want to say is that it's so crazy how similar our situations were. It's something that kind of stopped me from not asking for help, but just talking about it, because I was worried people would think, oh, I was just copying Maggie. This definitely wasn't that case, but I was just really scared. And I definitely take all fault for this. This isn't our parents' fault. This isn't my childhood. I'm super, super blessed with literally everything I have.
We have messed up brains.
When we were in normal school, 5th and 6th grade, I was bullied pretty harshly in the 6th grade. A couple of people got expelled. I wasn't always the favorite person in school. I had no friends. I don't know if that kind of played into the part of being how insecure I was, and I was pretty lonely. The band started picking up. I started, playing drums was something I absolutely loved, and every time I picked up my drumsticks, I just felt like everything else was fine. So around like fall or even winter of 2017, I started, for some reason, loving eating super healthy and working out, and it wasn't to the state where it was bad yet. I remember going vegan for like a week, and it was before anyone else had done anything, and then my parents were like, why are you vegan? Like, this makes no sense. So I kind of quit that. I was really foolish in some of the stuff that I put into my brain. And I'm also young, so I know that's a lot of part of it. But then I continued to eat very healthy. I think around then is when the not very healthy mindset kind of started to kick in, and it started to work into my 13-year-old brain, which is crazy to think about. Around December and then January, I started to pick up working out a lot more, and my parents, they didn't see anything wrong with it, only because I was taller, and so it was normal for me to be slimmer.
Or we were playing
so
many shows that we had to be fit.
I started thinking, oh, I'm fat. I am too overweight. I don't like this about me. And so I was still a little shorter, so I still hadn't grown fully even. I wasn't even at my full length
I hadn't reached
to
my
judge.
full potential yet.
And so I started working out a bunch, and it was kind of before the second Summer Rockfest tour. It has a lot to do with not eating, because if you don't eat, you definitely mess your mindset up. I don't want to put a label on it and say, I was depressed. Yeah. I don't want to put a label on it and say, I deal with anxiety, because I know a lot of people who do, and it's different from what I dealt with. I'm not really sure, to be honest, what I was going through, but I just know that it wasn't good, and I wasn't happy. I started secluding myself off. I'm an ambivert, so it's like extrovert, introvert, but I started becoming fully introverted, and I wouldn't talk to anyone, and I used to be really talkative, but wouldn't talk to anyone. I wouldn't let anyone cook my meals. That was the biggest thing, and it's still something I kind of struggle with, but I'm getting over it.
When it comes to eating disorders, it's having control over the one thing. I feel like that's why Cedar didn't struggle with this at all, because she has control over other parts of her life, and I feel like since we were kind of younger than her when we started this, it was like the only thing that we could have control over, because Cedar had already done almost her entire high school career, and she was already starting her last year of high school and going into college online and everything. Our school had completely changed. Our whole lifestyles were completely changed with the band and everything, and I feel like it was the one thing that we felt like we kind of had control on. So when you only have one thing to have control on, you latch onto it.
It was probably one of my really, really one of the most lowest moments of my life. I was 14 then, and all I could think about was working out. I remember one of my meals was really just broccoli, and I remember that's all I could have. It's crazy to me now that I think about it. It's what was I doing to myself? But then I thought, no, this is totally fine. There's a bunch of things I would see. I would look up model diet, 1 egg white, and 1 broccoli. And I know a lot of those models are healthy, but a lot of them are not. And everyone has their own opinions. But for a 13-year-old, 14-year-old girl
who's growing
and is very influenced, that was not good for me. I was looking to look a certain way, and I was not okay with the way I looked. I just really started questioning who I was, and I questioned, do I really have a purpose here? What am I doing? All I do is play drums. Is that really anything? And I started to wonder, would life be different without me here? I don't want to sound cliche, and I don't want to be like, oh, I feel so bad for her. She's 14 and she questioned her life. But it really was something that I went through, and I was away from God and the church. We had stopped going to our youth group just because of certain other situations, and so I really don't know where I was in life, to be honest. So we went on the tour, and I just remember my dad looking at me in the van and saying, you look hollow, Lou, you need to eat something. That was something that really woke me up. I look back now at the videos and I'm like, yeah, it's really weird me. By the end of the tour, I will say, I was at a really more positive moment of my life, and then fall really was just really, really awful. I just remember losing a lot of weight really quickly. I missed out on a lot of stuff that I wish I wouldn't have missed out on. If there's anything to push you forward, it's like you're missing out on a lot of life. You're not really living. And I wasn't living life. I started listening to really negative music, and that really dragged me down really quickly. If that's something you're doing, like, take that out of your life completely.
Yeah. I feel like me and Laura like really similar in certain things. Like, if we are feeling bad and we have some kind of outlet that will make us worse, like, we like to sulk in it. Like, we like to waller in it, and it's an issue that we have, and that's what made it worse. When we talked to each other and told each other, like, hey, like, this is something, like, we're actually struggling with, we didn't really take it seriously. That's what we were talking about earlier, to where if you're gonna tell somebody who's not struggling with it, because they're not gonna feed into it, and they're gonna be your anchor. And I feel like for me, I just stopped expressing stuff at all. So like, whereas you went to like expressing yourself negatively and like drawing and like listening to music and stuff like that would make you feel worse, I just wouldn't express myself at all. I felt like I couldn't talk to people anymore, and like it still happens sometimes, so I don't know what it is, but it's just to where I get to the point where I literally can't talk.
I'm really glad we can talk about it now, because it sucked keeping everything in. Didn't have anyone to talk to. I stopped talking to my friends that now we're like super close best friends, but I stopped talking to them. I stopped playing video games. I stopped talking to a lot of our fans. I'm tired of feeling this way, and like I just wanted the voices like to just stop. Really, like a lot of mind games that were going on.
A couple weeks passed after that, and
it was weird. It was dinner.
He was like, is this, like, what is going on? Why are you just eating that? Like, this is an issue. Yeah. And I was just, like, nonchalant. Yeah, I probably have an eating disorder. He's like, what are you? I was like, Lou has one too. And it's like, it went on for a couple hours that night. Lots of crying, lots of raised voices, because it's a huge thing. I feel like we didn't understand that. At least, like, I know I didn't understand that.
We talked a lot. We discussed multiple times whether we were going to go see a doctor or not.
It's a very controversial topic.
I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna say something right after, so please listen to the whole statement. They said, okay, if we can't get this figured out at the house, then you are going to. Mom called off all tours. She was like, no more tours, no more show dates, no more nothing until we get this figured out.
And we kind of did like a recovery thing on our own.
Yeah. But we do advise that if you can afford it and you can't do it on your own, please go get help. Go talk to people, get people's advice. We went to nutritionists and got advice like that. It wasn't just all us, but we didn't go away from home. If it doesn't work for you, please don't just say, oh, that's what they did, so I can too.
For us, the mental thing, it's not a chemical imbalance in us. Some people, it is a chemical imbalance, and your brain can't produce the right like endorphin. There is a need for a medication that can cause that and create that proper process in your brain.
Yeah. So please make sure that your recovery is for you and you're doing what's helping you.
What he used to be a very physical, like, trainer person type thing. One thing he made us do, like, right off the bat is print out pictures that motivated you and words that made you feel special and that you wanted to be known by, and a Bible verse that was your favorite Bible verse or something that got you through like those super worst times of your life. And this is your motivation board.
We also started writing we had a journal, and we would write down positive things that happened, the things that we're grateful for.
Group family therapy for just at our house with each other.
We got more involved with a youth group. We found a new one.
Now we used to just do whatever. Now we're intentional about being in our Bibles, being in the Word.
Actually, a relationship now. It's not just a religion I follow. I don't know. It's just a peace that went over me, you know, and it's peace that's continued to stay with me. That's something that I didn't have at all last year.
Yeah, that's a really good word. Like peace and like a joy instead of. It's not happiness, because happiness fades away and it comes and goes. Having the joy, like having a constant joy, knowing, well, there is hope and I know it will get better.
Still to this day, there's still struggles, and you still are gonna have your sucky day. The thing is that there's life to look forward to. We're still working on it. At least personally, there's like still goals I want to achieve, and this is still very quick. We've recovered very quickly. If you are recovering, like, you are so strong. Like, continually, as you start and as you keep going, you're so strong, and you aren't what your eating disorder was, or you aren't what your depression is. You aren't a failure just because you failed.
Yeah, don't let whatever is holding you down hold you down. Don't let that define you. Don't let your mental state define you. Don't let your eating habits define you. That's not you. Put on a specific eating schedule. We had to eat every couple hours.
That sucked. We told our closest friends. They were like, I will say, they really helped me. Like, I know it's cliche, but like, oh, you helped me through the hard times, but like they really did. And I know they're probably watching this, so thank you guys. I don't know where I would be. Our parents were always there to talk. CJ and our brother were always there to talk.
Everyone was just very there. And I feel like we both practiced being way more open with people.
Like, if you have a friend that you see and you are scared for them, just go to them. I guess as we get closer to the end of the video, our trainer kind of said something to us. There's two people. There's the person who eats to live and the person that lives to eat. And personally, I think you can agree with this, that we're both people who eat to live. Neither of them are bad, but to eat to live, you do have to eat. And you do have to get the right nutrition. I do eat sweets and I eat McDonald's, and you'll see us on our lives and we eat pizza or like with dairy-free cheese because still lactose intolerant. Yeah, that wasn't a joke.
But you're allowed to enjoy yourself, and you can live to eat at times, just not like don't splurge all the time because that's not healthy either.
Just because we dealt with anorexia isn't the only eating disorder. There's so many out there. We're gonna leave a link in the description, information about all of them if you wanna look into it more and research it so that you can know. We definitely have looked over it so that we can talk about it. If that triggers you,
though, don't do that because that'll make it worse.
Yeah. If you need help, speak out because that's the scariest part. But once you do it, life will be 100 times better.
Recovery is like, it's achievable.
And just live life. Like, living feels so good. I can't tell you how good it feels to wake up and be excited for a day.
Yeah. When you go to bed, you're just like, I'm just so grateful for the life I have.
And eating bread. I'm so happy to eat the bread again. It's so soft.
Just accept who you are and accept who you were made to be. You're the only person who's you, and you're the only one who gets the privilege to be you.
You are beautiful. Jesus loves you. GFM is always here for you. If you need to talk to us, our DMs are open, and we'll always be there to talk to you. There's links in the description for people to talk to. And if you need help, please go get it. Please, I know it's scary, but it really, 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 really will change your life forever.
If you're not struggling with any of those things and you feel like you're fine, be intentional about looking for those things and people that you know and your friends and your family, and just reach out to those people and just make sure they're okay. Go, like, make an effort to make sure everything is 100% okay with them, because you never know like how bad they're struggling.
We really appreciate you guys like being there with us, and even when you guys didn't know it, you were helping us.
Just every person who's in our life personally who reached out to us and who helped us through this time, just like huge thank you to you guys, because I don't know, it really helped a lot and encouraged us.
Just tell your people that you love them. Live life, breathe air.
Somehow we're gonna get there. Or I was about to say that. And we can have more conversations about this in the comments.
Yeah, we could literally talk forever. It's been hours. So. Thanks guys for watching. I don't know how long this video is gonna be. If you need to share this with someone, please just let them know. Like if there's triggered warning, we put them in. We don't want to hurt anyone. We love you, and we'll see you guys in the next video, whatever it is. I don't know when we're gonna post this, so
it might be an off day. Just randomly post it one day.
Yeah. So if we post this, be kind to our souls. We're tender. Peace out.
Rainbow trout.
Bye.